So, James Desborough. I'm very sorry about that. I do think if we're going to talk about somebody, we should pronounce the name correctly. So I apologize for the mispronunciation of your name. I get home, I check my YouTube channel, and hey, you commented. And I follow back, and there's a reply, a rebuttal of my video on your feed. And I listened to the whole rebuttal because you went through the entire effort of making the rebuttal in the first place, and therefore I think you deserved to at least have me listen to it, although ultimately I didn't really need to because you said exactly what I thought you were going to say. I'm going to respond to a few of your points, and then I'm going to get to the main of my point. And I don't think you're going to like it, but I don't really give a damn. So, your main point was freedom of expression. Yeah, okay. As you pointed out, I agree that no plot element, plot device should be taken off the table. There's no need to. If it's a functional plot device, it needs to be a plot device. You commented about my point about, we don't really identify with it, and brought up, you're not a deposed king, but you can identify with that. Or you're not a psychic, but you can identify with that. Well, you know what you are? You are a person who has been in a position of some kind of respect or power, and then had that taken away from you. Doesn't matter what it is. You can identify with holding power, holding some kind of authority, and having that taken away. You might not have been psychic, but you can identify with the idea of having some skill, some talent, some ability that you don't fully understand how to do it, but you know you're doing it, and maybe other people don't understand it as well. There are places you can extrapolate and kind of get a grip on what's going on. Leading into the next, or one of the other points you made about men being raped in media and it being treated like a joke. That's my point. Men don't complain about rape in media, not because we're men, it doesn't bother us, but because it's never actually shown as a threat. Do you see the difference? If you show me consistently something happening to me or somebody who's supposed to be me or whatever that is not actually a threat, I'm going to not see it as threatening. They're not the same thing. I know you want them to be the same thing, but they are really not. You talk about moral panic. And, D&D wasn't satanic, and Elvis swinging his hips didn't bring down, etc., etc. But here's the problem. The difference in those two is that the mainstream culture, the people in authority, were the ones saying Elvis's hip swinging is going to degrade America's moral center. People in authority were the ones saying D&D is satanic. You know what we have people in authority saying? Oh, rape is not a big deal. That's the difference. You have this thing that is actually a big deal when it happens that is brushed away. Meanwhile, on the other hand, with Elvis and with D&D and with Grand Theft Auto, what you had was something that actually wasn't a big deal that was being made to look like one. Again, that is the difference. There is a context and a nuance that you are not picking up. You make a point about whether or not something is well done is subjective. Let me pull out some anecdotes from my past here, and say I am a trained culinary person, chef thing. I went to Le Cordon Bleu Culinary School, and what I notice is that a whole lot of people think they can cook, and they can't. And it's not that they can't make food that is tasty. It is that they do not know how to cook. And there is a difference. And it's the same thing with handling certain plot devices, handling any plot device. You can write something that may be entertaining, but that does not make it an objectively good bit of writing. Hell, here's a good book for that, right here. Battle of Beta Z, a Star Trek book. It was entertaining. I got a great couple of hours out of reading that book. Objectively, it was not that good. The characterization was not very good. The way they laid out the plot was not that good. They did not do a very good job at writing, even though it was an enjoyable book. You run into that all the time in cooking. People are telling you, oh yeah, no, this is how I like it, so this must be good. Well, it may be something you like, but that does not mean it is objectively well done. And that is the point you are not wanting to get. Just because something is enjoyable does not make it objectively good. But here's where it all comes around. So here's the thing, Jimmy. Can I call you Jimmy? So here's the thing, Jim Bob. You are not a woman. I'm not either. Which means this isn't about us. I know you want to make it about you, as evidenced by the fact that you completely breezed and brushed over the statement, like the overall statement I was making, instead trying to, pinpoint, point by point, break apart what I was saying in order to rebut it. But it's not about you. It's not about me either, because we both have penises. You can tell because we're sitting here in this dick-waving contest. What you think, and what I think, is ultimately not fucking important in light of what the people who are actually under threat of misogyny and rape actually feel. Yes, men get raped. You know why it's treated as a joke? Because everyone knows rape is something that happens to women. Why? Because in media, women are the ones who are shown raped as an actual threat, whereas when men get raped, it's a joke. Exactly like I was saying. So feel whatever you want to feel. Again, I think that no plot device should be taken off the table. I think that, because I also approve of free expression. I curse all the fucking time. Seriously, I could just sit here and rattle off a minute full of curse words, hyphenated curse words. This would not be an issue for me. But none of those are the point. The point is, there are women in gaming, video gaming, tabletop gaming, collectible card games. There are geek women who are sitting there telling you, telling me, telling us that there is a problem, that they feel pressured, that they feel singled out, that they feel like pieces of meat. That is what we need to respond to. And it doesn't matter whether or not you think it's a problem. It doesn't matter whether or not I think it's a problem. You know who it matters what they think? The people who are actually being mistreated. So try to make it about you all you want. The fact that you missed that point, that it's not about you, and decided to instead make a 15-minute video in response to mine so that you could try to make it all about you, is why you have earned the title Shitstain. Because you don't get it, and don't want to get it, that it doesn't matter what you or I think. And I don't expect you to get it. Because you're already gone. You were lost to the entire discussion the second you decided that you didn't have to listen to this because it was patently ridiculous. Well, apparently it's not patently ridiculous, because apparently there's a large number of women who think this. So, sure, dismiss it if you want, as long as you're prepared to continue to be called a shit stain. Because they don't have to make you believe it. They're the ones feeling it. You, meanwhile, I presume, have a penis, and don't. I don't see why that's so difficult to get.